So in this video, I'm going to present you with some interesting ideas for attracting tourists to your small town. So I'm a weirdo. I really love small towns because I always see opportunity and potential there, and my mind really lights up with all the things and possibilities and ways to develop it. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. If you were to look at small towns around you, which I have in southern Wisconsin, small towns, if you were to go on their website, they would all have an economic development section. It's because while it's cheaper to live there, there aren't so many business opportunities, not so many work opportunities, and even though you might be out in nature more, it might be safer, those sort of things, you know, how can you live in a place where you don't have work? So local tourism is really the answer for a lot of small towns, but the ways that small towns try to attract people are all different. And so I'm going to go through some ways today how to attract people to a small town. So according to the Rural Research Report done by the Institute for Rural Affairs, the most successful small towns use multiple development strategies, and I'll just lay them out briefly here, and you can read the full blog post on my website. So I'm going to link also the full study down below. It's a really interesting read, but essentially what they did is they took 40 of the most successful small towns in the United States and pretty much laid out why they were successful. So the first one is with water. 40% of towns were attractive because of their proximity to water. So this obviously includes things like boats or water sports, that sort of thing, people who like any sort of fishing. Small towns that have beautiful scenery really attract tourists. Art, so like painters, glassmakers, any sort of traditional arts, people will visit small towns, or most of the successful small towns had some sort of art presence. History. The history of a community, believe it or not, no matter how small, is really interesting to people, and not a lot of small towns, the report said, leverage this enough. So really highlighting, you know, local history or sort of some small museums does attract tourists. Shops and sales. So in a lot of cases, some shops or some stores have become the main attraction for the town. People go to this small town because there's shopping there. So for example, Mackinac Island in Michigan has 459, I think, full-time residents, but it has 2 antique shops, 8 art galleries, and 54 retail stores. So that's a lot of stores just for that many people, but it's because of local tourism. People go there just for that. Another one is attraction, events, and recreational opportunities. People really like to be active. People really like to do fun things, create memories in a different place. Ethnic attractions. People really like to go to places that have a particular culture or a different ethnicity or history of an ethnicity in that area. Festivals. Festivals are a really great way to provide economic stimulus, especially if food is related. And I think I was going to say food is on this list later, but people really like festivals. Festivals attract tourists and provide economic stimulus because, you know, they really specialize in different things that are interesting to people. So that might be the history, that might be the ethnic makeup of, you know, the small town, and something like food. You know, there are festivals with just a particular type of food, and that really does attract people. The last one is antiques. People really go to find old things or to find interesting old things. People will go to a small town just for that. As well as wineries is really becoming a big one. A lot in different places in the United States where you might not think it's traditionally known for wine. It still attracts a lot of people with wine tours or wine routes. But overall, bundling is really the biggest strategy. You may have noticed that some of these are changeable, you know, like having festivals or events, and some of them you can't control, like scenery or being near water. But as a strategy, their most successful small towns had a combination of all of these things. So I really think these are a lot of really great ways to see how people are doing it, how small towns aren't just dying, but are actually getting people to come to them. So if you're interested in this information, you want to read my full blog post, you can visit on opevery.com, or you can read the full study in the link below. I'd love it if you were to subscribe. Thanks so much.